Kia ora, Internet.
Hello and welcome to the Sky Bear Games podcast.
Doing things a little bit differently today, because today Claire's going to be doing most of the talking, and I'm going to be making the appreciative noises.
Finally, it's happened to me. Yay, I get to lead.
Yeah. So we've been doing a whole lot of podcasts where we talk about D&D stuff, and so it's been about things that I've been excited about in the past. My nostalgia. Sure. But, this time around, this is about your nostalgia. What are we talking about this time?
Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Yay. I'm excited. Well, if you are a Pokemon power gamer, feel free to shut off this episode right now because I'm not talking power gaming. I'm one of those annoying, cutesy, casual players. I'm a filthy cash.
I think we've said before that we are like
the filthiest of casuals.
Professional, filthy casuals.
Yeah.
Basically, we are the most absolute long-term, experienced, veteran, filthy casuals in everything that we play.
Yeah, don't expect me to take my game seriously.
We will never not be filthy casuals.
Exactly. I have friends who, can talk about building up the stats of their Pokemon. That's not what I'm about. I'm just like, is it cute? Then I like it.
Whereas for me, Pokemon came out just after I was too old to care.
Yeah. Well, let's start with our Pokemon stories. So my Pokemon story is going to
slightly longer than mine.
Yeah, my Pokemon story is going to be a lot longer. I'm looking at our bullet point list and your one has 1, whereas mine has 10. So here we go. It came into prominence when I was about 9. I remember seeing people with these pictures and I was just like, what is this new hotness? I don't know what this is. But then I became obsessed with it when I started seeing the anime on TV. It wasn't my first anime. I had been really into Sailor Moon when I was 6. So I was well versed in how awesome Japanese animation was. And I was fully ready to immerse myself in weebiness. So I would watch the anime and
Right.
I actually had these little notebooks and I would write a 1 or 2 page synopsis of every episode and I would do a little illustration underneath. And I
remember those sort of early days of anime fandom where that was probably the most accurate information, the most detailed information that anybody could get their hands on. You'd go to anime websites and someone's website would just have their summary, their list of the episodes.
Yeah, fully.
And that was like rare information that you had to trawl to find.
That's the thing. I was documenting this because, this was just before DVDs really became a thing. All we had was VHS and, you wouldn't see VHSs of like Sailor Moon around. So
No.
it had been there when I was 6 and then I never saw it again except for looking it up. YouTube didn't exist, obviously. So this was 1999.
Wikipedia didn't exist.
This was 1999.
So you had to go onto people's GeoCity pages and...
Honey, I had GeoCities. I was all over that stuff. I had fan sites for lots of different stuff that I was into. But I this is back in the day where when I first started on the internet in sort of 97, I would look up Sailor Moon websites through Yahoo directories. Do you remember Yahoo directories?
I remember Yahoo.
Right? Anyway, back to
It's just turning into a nostalgia episode.
I mean, yeah.
Internet and nostalgia for the 90s.
It's all related.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd have these little episode books, and I hope to find them one day because I reckon they're in my stash that's in my brother's basement that I can't get to because it's behind all his amps. But one day I will get in there and I will find my secret stash of Pokemon stuff.
You should hold his Easter egg hostage.
You're wicked.
I am.
So, anyway, school, that's where I got exposed to Pokemon, but then very quickly, and I'm sure this probably happened, I don't know, you were in high school by then, so,
yes.
But the cards, the toys, very quickly got banned. I mean, bringing consoles in was banned anyway.
See, I don't remember it for Pokemon, because like I said, that was slightly just after my time.
Yeah.
But I do remember for Magic the Gathering, it would always get banned.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, Pokemon was getting banned up the wazoo because, cards, especially back in the 90s, people looked on that as like a form of gambling, especially when if you lost the game, you had to hand over a card.
Was that a thing in Pokemon as well?
I don't think it was, but because it had been a thing in Magic, people did sort of take it over to other card games as well.
I remember for Magic in schools, the problem was just somebody would get something stolen by someone else.
Yeah.
And then they'd go and tell the teachers, and the teachers, rather than trying to police the whole thing,
would say it's
Would
banned.
just say it's banned.
See, that was more what happened with the Pokemon toys. Because at like the Takapuna markets every Sunday, there were tons of knockoff little plastic figurines.
Yeah,
and in my secret stash, I have a bunch of them, and I really want to get to my secret stash. I remember that my dad and I would have like stupid, like fun arguments, not like actual arguments, but like he would be mocking my love of Pokemon. I remember I bought a Nintendo magazine one time, and I like read it cover to cover, and it had a guide of how to do Zelda Ocarina of Time. I actually read the guide fully through like multiple times rather than play the game.
Do you still have that guide?
I wish you know what? It might be in my secret stash.
Otherwise, I mean, there's guides on the internet.
There are guides on the internet, but like the fact that it was like this little published like paperback book, it was
because I'm not that far off.
I know
starting that.
Yeah. It's all ready to go.
I have to do a Zelda talk one of these days.
Absolutely.
Once I get slightly further through the games, maybe.
Yeah, but so somewhere probably in my secret stash in Brent's basement. It's there. So, but in that magazine that came with, it had like a letter to the editor. I can't even remember now. Like maybe it was a parody letter to the editor. But as a kid, like, I don't think I had the right, like, sort of tool set to figure that out. But it said something about, like, Pikachu being stupid and, like, I can't stand his school bus yellow colour. And my dad, like, it cracked him. It probably was a parody because it cracked him up. And for years afterward, he would mock me about Pikachu and school bus yellow. So much so that when Pokemon Go happened in 2016 and my dad was still alive, I was playing Pokemon Go on my phone, and he was like, on the one hand, he was pretty impressed that Pokemon had survived nearly 20 years.
It is pretty impressive.
Or like over 20 years, I think, technically in Japan, but 99 in New Zealand at least. He was really impressed, and then he still dropped the school bus yellow joke in there. So it was like, it persisted. Anyway, so I was so obsessed with Pokemon, and he put the emulator on the computer for me. So I was playing Pokemon Red, fully emulated, and then I discovered Game Shark cheat codes. But I really, really wanted the Game Boy, and then there was this little newspaper. I can't even remember what it was called, but it was like a little kids' newspaper. It would get distributed to primary schools back in the day, and they had a competition. Win a Game Boy Color, the Pokemon branded Game Boy Color with it was school bus yellow with a little Pikachu poking out the corner of the screen, and a copy of Pokemon Red. And I couldn't believe that like no one else was interested in entering this competition. So I said to my whole class, like, hey, can I like have your entry forms? And so like everyone just who wasn't interested gave me their entry forms. And then I found an abandoned carton of that newspaper, and Mum and I swiped it, and we cut out the corner from every page, and we sent them all. I think we sent in about 130, 140 of this list. Guess who won that Game Boy Color and Pokemon Red? It was me.
Well done.
And so yeah, I had this thing, and it made me very, very happy. I remember playing it on a road trip in between bouts of motion sickness. But one of the things that I remember, and I'm sure a lot of listeners remember very fondly from the days of Pokemon Red, are, especially when you, like, if you were that age, 9 and 10 like I was, imagination could run a bit wild. You don't really understand how game development works at that point. So, like, I remember walking up to the walls on the side of the path and being like, how do I get past that wall? I bet there's Pokemon that people have never imagined before, just outside those walls, in the tall grass, outside these little cute bumper pixel walls. That the idea just fascinated me. I remember having dreams when I was around that age of finally getting over those walls and getting into Pokemon lands that no one had ever imagined.
I mean, that said, there's so many games that do have those sorts of hidden areas. And
fully, yeah, Mario and all that. Yeah.
And in a way, this isn't all the spin-off games that they do where they enter a whole new region. Isn't that just going over those walls?
Well, that's the thing. Like, of course, in the anime, they had moved on to the Orange Islands Islands and then onto the Johto region. And it was in my head as this imaginative kid who didn't understand how these things worked, that only what is coded into the game is coded into the game. You know, I thought if I could get past those walls, then I would be able to go to those places. And I love the fact that now, you know, there are open world Pokemon games and more coming, I
mean, just wait. Soon enough, there'll be Pokemon Egg and Spoon. And you'll go and explore the, I don't know, potato region, and you'll get all these American-themed Pokemon, and there really is a whole world of expansion out there for it.
Oh, yeah, big time. I really want to see them do like a Australasia-themed one, because they won't just do a New Zealand one. I mean, we've only got birds. Every Pokemon would be flying type. Except won't
the Kiwi.
Be. Yeah.
Hot take. Half of New Zealand's bird already are Pokemon. Hot take. The platypus is a Pokemon.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah, water poison type.
Water poison,
it's a thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and one of the other things that captivated the imagination of other kids and myself was missing no. So there was this cheat that you could do where if you sailed up and down the right-hand side of Cinnabar Island, you could multiply, I believe it was the 6th item in your item bag, and so everyone would replicate the one copy of the Master Ball that you would get, which would, 100% one-hit catch a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Everyone would just replicate that. But while you were doing that, there was a chance of running into a couple of random Pokemon. And this information is probably on the internet somewhere. I never figured out what it was that determined what you ran into. It seemed like every new load of the game, it would be a different one. Like, I remember one time running into a Blastoise there, which I know that you don't know, but maybe our players will, our listeners will understand.
Is that the turtle that's got cannons?
Yeah. So that's
right.
Squirtle's final form. But the thing is, in those games back then, you only got one of the starter Pokemon, and you didn't have a chance to get any other one unless you traded with other people.
Right.
Yeah. So I remember running into a Blastoise there, and my mind was blown because it was like, oh, through this cheaty method, I can get this Pokemon that I can't get otherwise. But there was this thing called missing no. Now, what it really was missing number.
Oh.
But a lot of people, especially kids like myself, were just like, what is this?
What is the missing no Pokemon?
And a lot of us thought, I remember specifically, I thought, and I'm sure other people did, that it was what eventually was Ho-Oh, which was a legendary Pokemon in Pokemon Gold, because in the very first episode of the anime, Ash sees a phoenix-like Pokemon far off in the distance, and he's just like, what is that? And so the two linked in my mind.
Right, and that was the missing no.
Yeah. I mean, this was back in the days when, the information was so sparse on the ground that, like...
urban legends could spread.
Yeah, that even, like, before the movie came out and Mew was, a Pokemon card and stuff, there was like, oh, what's this mysterious 151st Pokemon, Mew. And then my cousin actually traded it with me, and I had Mew, and it was just like, what? This really exists. But then, so the movie happened, and I went twice so that I could get my holographic hieroglyph Mew, which, again, must be in my secret stash. It's just waiting to be broken into. And the second time I went, they'd run out of Mew, so I got Articuno, which was, like, one of my absolute favourites. So I was so happy. I was so obsessed that the first ever, like, fan comic thing that I wrote was Pokemon 3000. I can't even remember that much about it, except that it had like a whole alien plot line where my best friend, who was heavily based on the teacher I had a crush on at the time, she was like a alien but secretly a good guy. But anyway, and then my Pokemon companion, sort of my Pikachu for Pokemon 3000, was a robot cow with a giant octagonal ruby on its forehead, and it was definitely psychic.
I mean, that makes as much sense as any other Pokemon.
I know, right? I really hope that I can find this comic in my secret stash, because believe you me, I am so publishing that stuff if I find it. Like, 100%. It's a sort of, like, unironic nostalgia trip that the world needs right now. You know what I mean? I mean, I'll even, like, scan my Pokemon episode synopses. I don't even care. 10-year-old Claire was cute as hell. So, I was so obsessed with Pokemon that before Pokemon Gold was even translated into English, I was playing the Japanese version on the emulator. No translations, just sheer, like, brute force, like, just keep moving forward. I don't know what any of this means. I come up to a yes, no. I don't know what this means. I'll try each one. If they don't get the result I want, I'll try the other. I'll talk to the person, I'll try the other one. I don't know what's happening, but it's, it's a simple enough game that I managed to brute force my way the whole way through it.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't have that determination anymore, but oh my god, back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much so to the point where when Gold actually came out in English, I didn't push that hard for my parents to buy it for me, and I never actually got it in physical copy because it was just like...
You'd already played it.
I've already played this. It will be less of a challenge, so why would I play it? Anyway, I don't really remember how I fell off of Pokemon. It might be that they started doing repeats and they ran out of original anime and I never really heard when the new episodes came out or whatever, but
Could just be time.
Yeah, I don't really know what it was.
Time, life getting more complicated.
Maybe, but then I started dabbling back in it when I got to uni because I got a DS and I got Pokemon Diamond and I got Pokemon Heart Gold because it came with a Pokewalker, which I still have and still use. So yeah, big nerd. But then again, like I fell off the bandwagon again until, well, I mean, I still fell off the bandwagon after this. Like the year we got married, Pokemon Go came out. Do you remember?
I remember us going on.
We were going up north. Yeah, we went up north the same weekend when it came out.
We stopped at Matakana and picked up all the Bulbasaurs.
There were so many Bulbasaurs in Matakana. It was like the place to be.
I remember us, going out for dinner and then you catching Pokemon on the table.
I remember you sneezing in the background as if you'd sneezed out a Zubat.
Yes,
I took a
that's
picture
right.
of that.
Yeah.
But,
I remember you getting me to catch the Pokemon while
driving.
we were driving along the motorway, and so there'd be this very short time window where like 3, 2, 1, get it.
I remember that data was really freaking expensive back then, and that Spark put out, or they Telecom back then, I can't remember.
They made special data packs.
They did a special data pack, and then when it utterly abused their network, they stopped it immediately after.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of contributed to, or also the fact that the game didn't have many features back then, contributed to me falling off that bandwagon. Like, before any new content came out, basically. So I saw that there were the original 150, and then that was about it for me. I didn't, keep trying. But then, I don't even know what it was that inspired me to get back on the bandwagon. I've always really liked Pokemon, and but I just sort of didn't have a lot of time to play it. Was it like seeing a trailer of Pokemon Sword and Shield, or was it seeing a book or something? I don't even remember what started this latest craze for me, but I got Pokemon Go back on my phone. I started collecting Pokemon cards again. I bought Let's Go Pikachu, and I mean, hell, we're gonna...
How are you going on Let's Go Pikachu?
So, oh man, I've been so
Not that
busy.
you get much time to play it at all.
I'm finally up to, not that this is going to mean much to you, I'm finally up to Saffron City.
Absolutely nothing to me.
Storming the Silph building and saving it from Team Rocket. And I'll get more into Let's Go later, but basically I really like it. A friend of the show, Mark, said to me that he doesn't really like it all that much because it really is like a step back. It's much simpler, but as a filthy casual, it's everything I want in terms of the nostalgia trip being a really easy version of the game. I mean, part of the design ethic of them making it is the kids today have no idea about that anime from 20 years ago and don't possibly get some of the mimetic stuff that happens in Pokemon. So let's make it really accessible to them with an updated version of the original game. Yeah. Super truthful to the original, but with some really great features added in and not a heck of a lot of power gaming going. So there's a little bit of that, but it's not really about that. It's a pretty easy.
Just a nice on-ramp.
Yep, just really smooth, and it's exactly the sort of level of complexity I need with my busy day-to-day life, not having time to grind. I'm really enjoying it. So, James, what's your Pokemon story?
My Pokemon story is much shorter.
Yep.
So my Pokemon story is that when Pokemon came out, I was in high school and just a bit too old to care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're 4.5, almost exactly 4.5 years older than me.
So I think that when you would have been... Did you play the Pokemon card game back in the day? You did, didn't you?
Very briefly, but
Sure.
even back
Collected
then...
it.
Collected is a strong word. I
Sure,
didn't have a lot of income, and
Yeah.
but I got a couple of booster sets.
So at the point that it came out, I, just for contrast, would have been playing what?
Alpha,
Middle Earth the
Magic.
Wizards?
Oh, yeah. You were
Legend of the Five
I-
Rings, like the top end, most complicated.
If even
card
I
games.
could see that it was a bad card game, you would have been laughing derisively.
I remember there was a point where I was just sort of out of interest collecting the rule books and seeing how to play all the different card games. And so I remember there was this wave of easier card games driven by Pokemon, and I remember just going, wow, these are dumb.
Yeah.
Not,
Yeah.
Of course, really, they were just not for me. But
No.
Yeah.
But even as a 10-year-old, I was like, there's some holes in this. we'll get to that later, though.
Well,
you continue.
Anyway, so as a result, I just never got into Pokemon. It just wasn't a thing. Also, growing up, I never really had any sort of console gaming.
Yeah.
And so those... Oh, and I had stopped watching TV and was just reading like mad. So those are all the main avenues that Pokemon attacked by that I just wasn't interested in.
I mean, you did get into like anime and university.
I did get
and
into
stuff,
anime in
But by
later
then,
high
you were,
school and university.
you were
I
too old
remember
by
people
then.
being excited by Dragon Ball Z, and I remember watching a bit of it and going, what? What? I also then remember later on, after, I want to say 7th form exams, after all the studying and the brain work and the doing the exams, I was so brain dead. And then one of my friends lent me the first season of Dragon Ball Z, and that was the exact right thing for that sort of...
Yeah.
My brain has stopped working, put on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't do it in any other context, but yeah.
Yeah, fully.
But apart from that, I was into what?
Kenshin.
Rurouni Kenshin and things
Yeah,
like
much
that.
more mature fare.
Yeah. So I basically just dodged Pokemon. I mean, this is not for me.
Yeah.
And of course, what I did know about it was that you got cute animals and made them fight each other.
Yeah, not
Which
exactly.
we'll be talking about later on. But yeah, not exactly my sort of thing. I've always been more about, like, hugging the cute animal, not pitting them in a death match. So, for me, even when I remember early on in our relationship, you got me to play...
Oh,
one of the
Pokemon Yellow.
games.
Yeah,
Pokemon Yellow.
Which is basically the old Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah. And I played a bit of it, but I just didn't care. It just didn't grab me.
In those old games, you really had to grind, so...
Yeah,
like,
it was just not interesting.
yeah.
So, I played a little bit of it. I think I got through the first town or something, but that was about it.
There are a few things that amused you and me as you went along, but
Yeah.
it wasn't for you.
And then there was the movie. Detective Pikachu was what I needed to get me into it.
Yeah.
Because Detective Pikachu presented the world, and it showed it in the sense of sort of wonder of, here's this world, it doesn't take itself very seriously, it knows it's not taking itself very seriously. It's a strangely good movie. Like, it's better than it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's, it could have just been a silly cash grab. I think I was interested just by the sheer sort of absurdity of the concept, Detective Pikachu.
It got a lot of play because, Ryan Reynolds was coming off of his Deadpool success.
Yes.
And then people were like, Ryan Reynolds is playing Pikachu? What?
But Pikachu, who is then
a
playing
detective, yeah.
Sherlock Holmes with the hat and the pipe.
Yeah. So people were
Yeah.
utterly amazed, and I just wanted to watch it so badly.
So when we finally watched it, it showed me a world where it didn't focus just on Pokemon pit fighting each other, except in the one pit fight arena. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, that aspect of society exists, but the Pokemon were just integrated entirely into the world.
Also, in that context, it was illegal.
Yes.
They weren't supposed to be pit fighting, and the cops,
Yeah.
intervened. Yeah.
But yeah, it had Machamp directing traffic with its forearm. There were other Pokemon that were fighting fires. There were
That's right. Squirtles.
Squirtles fighting fires. This was the sort of whimsy and wonder that I needed to make me actually really like this.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm still not sure that I'm into playing one of the fighting games, which is why I'm really, really looking forward to new Pokemon Snap. Where the goal is just, to be a naturalist and take photos of amazing, bizarre animals.
Also, the original Detective Pikachu game.
Yeah.
I really want to play that, yeah.
So now that I see that the franchise is more... And also just, just like how you've gotten excited about things that I've got nostalgia for because I'm excited for them.
Exactly,
I'm excited for your things.
Yeah,
So you've started collecting the Pokemon cards and you've got your folders, and I've been a complete enabler.
We'll talk more on the cards soon when we get to that topic. But yeah, you have enabled me humongously.